I thought the movie was great. Like, the movie was very engaging. I was in my seat, my eyes glued to the screen. It was funny, it was full of action, and I was never bored. I was just sucked into the movie the entire time. I didn't know how I was going to feel about the movie because I've heard many bad reviews from the first Suicide Squad movie, which some of my friends have watched and a lot of people I've met have watched, and it's mixed. Like, some people like it, but a lot of people don't like it. They said it could have been a lot better. And I also know that the movie is directed by James Gunn, who directed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, which I'm not a fan of. It's an unpopular opinion, but I'm not a really big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They're not bad, but I don't really like them much. In fact, all of James Gunn's films, I'm not a fan of. But I did love this one. Maybe it's because it's rated R, maybe it's because it's darker. I don't know, but I liked it. The plot of this film is that there's an experimental facility on a South American island country known as Corto Maltese that was used by Nazis after World War II, but now it's just home to something known as Project Starfish, which poses a very big threat to the US and the rest of the world, which initially wasn't a problem, but two generals mutinied against the ruling family of Corto Maltese, and they're 100% anti-American. So, Amanda Waller, who I believe is the director of Argus, and she's played by Viola Davis, recruits individuals from a maximum security prison, which I think is supposed to house metahumans and like people with superpowers and whatnot, etc., etc. And she incentivizes them to join the Suicide Squad, and she sends them on a mission to save the world, etc., etc. Now, I was asking myself, why doesn't she just recruit normal superheroes, like actual heroes, to go on this mission? And the reason ended up being that Jotunheim contains information that Amanda Waller or Argus doesn't want getting out. And superheroes are very self-righteous. They always want to do what's best for the people, regardless of what it is. Criminals, on the other hand, don't care. You promise them 10 years off their sentence and they're there. Like, they don't care. Now, while the film had a lot of action and comedy and adventure, and the pacing was really good, it still lacked in way of a good story. We need Jotunheim destroyed, go destroy it. That's the entire story, so it's too simple for me. I also felt like the villains of the movie were wasted. And by the villains, I don't mean Starro the Conqueror. Like, I don't care about him, because at the end of the day, it's just a giant alien starfish. That's all it is. Now, the generals Silvio Luna and Mateo Suarez were pretty much wasted. That and Gaius Greaves, because he's the thinker, and I don't know much about DC Comics. Like, I don't read comic books, but I did see the Flash. The Thinker in the Flash is so unbelievably intelligent that he has a plan for everything. He knows every single outcome for every single possibility. It's just insane how smart he is. But in this film, the Thinker is not really that smart. I mean, yeah, he's a scientist, so he does have a high level of intelligence, but he's just an ordinary scientist. Like, that's the way they make it feel. And Silvio Luna is killed pretty much like right away. He doesn't really get much screen time before he's killed by Harley Quinn, and I get it. I'm okay with it, because she didn't do it because she was trying to make a better world. She did it because she was attracted to him and thought everything he was talking about was a red flagger. So, you know what, I'm gonna kill you. So I thought that was funny, but he was pretty much wasted because he's supposed to be one of the primary antagonists of the film, and he's just killed off very quickly. Now, Mateo Suarez could have assumed the role of the primary villain and had a much bigger role than he actually did, because he didn't really do much. And I don't like that, because Mateo Suarez is played by Joaquin Cosio, I think is his name, and he's the same guy that plays Don Neto in Narcos Mexico. So I've seen what he can do. He's a fantastic actor, and I just think he should have gotten a bigger role, one that's more important than the role he received, because all he really did is assume control and then get taken over by Starro the Conqueror. So that was pretty much of a waste to me. So the villains of the film were pretty much wasted. They didn't really have too much of an important role in the film. The members of the Suicide Squad are good. I'm not sure if this film does the characters justice, because I don't read the comic book, so I don't really know what the characters are like. But it was really easy to follow. I knew everyone's name, what their abilities are, what their skill set is. It was pretty easy to understand, and their chemistry, the way they play off each other, was great. And I'd probably have to say my favorite is King Shark, because he doesn't really say much, but he's just so funny because he's so dumb and he has some semblance of intelligence, and when he used it, he feels so proud of himself, and like everything he's being asked of him sounds like a trick question, like he doesn't know how to answer it. Like, yeah, I'm just a shark, I'm just trying to eat stuff. Margot Robbie was great as Harley Quinn. I didn't see the first film, so I never got to see her performance or anything, but she was great as Harley Quinn. John Cena played Peacemaker, and I was really surprised because when I saw F9, I saw John Cena put on a performance that was far, like, it was just exceeded everything he's done in the past. Which isn't saying much because his films were really corny. But in F9, he put on a performance that was so much better. And this one was even better than that. So it wasn't the best acting, but it was still pretty good. It didn't seem like he was trying too hard. And the competitiveness between him and Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba, was hilarious. Didn't really care too much for the Polka Dot Man though, but he did have a lethal superpower, so it makes sense why he was there. This isn't like the MCU or the DCEU where they didn't have their own standalone films in order to build up the character and whatnot, but it gave me just enough, it showed just enough for me to know what their motives are, why they're doing this. And Bloodsport's doing this for his daughter because Amanda Waller is threatening to send his daughter to prison, the same prison he's in, for committing a crime that's not even that big. So she's cold. But that scene between Bloodsport and his daughter does a pretty good job of showing their relationship or lack thereof. Except Harley Quinn, I don't really know what she gets out of it, but maybe that's explained in the other films, I don't know. But she's crazy, so I don't really take her too seriously. There was a lot of stuff in this film that a lot of people have a problem with, like the forced comedy, like they have an issue with, or some of the CGI, some of the gore, people have an issue with, but I don't really take it too seriously because it's an action comedy. It's not like a lot of MCU films, while it does have funny moments, those specific moments are meant to be taken seriously. In this, even the serious moments are funny. When this film opens up, it gathers a bunch of members of the Suicide Squad, but Bloodsport wasn't there, and a lot of other members that I saw in the trailers weren't there either, so I knew something was gonna happen, and it was just hilarious how everyone just ended up dying, and they were actually a decoy for the actual Suicide Squad, which was led by Bloodsport and consisted of Peacemaker and Ratcatcher and King Shark and the Polka Dot Man. And then it just rewinds a few days later to show how it led to that moment. And I didn't really care for it too much there, but I did like it towards the end of the film where you have one thing going on and then you cut back to a few moments earlier to show what's happening simultaneously to that moment. So instead of just cutting back and forth between scenes, which can make a film seem like a mess if it's not done correctly, but James Gunn rewinds the time and just gives us a clear view of what's going on in those moments, and then puts it all together again when he brings it back to the present. Towards the end though, during the climax, there's a scene where Peacemaker gets in a fight with Rick Flag over the contents, like the information located in Jotunheim that he was tasked with not letting get out. Like he was tasked with destroying every bit of Project Starfish, and Rick Flag wants to expose the US government, but Peacemaker can't let that happen, so a fight ensues, and you can see the fight on Peacemaker's helmet. I mean, they show the fight too, but the initial stages of the fight you see on Peacemaker's helmet. So as they're moving around, the camera kind of goes around, rotates around his helmet. My bad, I mean revolve, not rotate. And you can see the fight there, and I thought that was actually pretty cool. And while this is happening, the Polka Dot Man, Bloodsport, and Harley Quinn are setting up charges everywhere, and King Shark is just like a lost dog. He's just walking around like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just walking around. And then he meets like these little marine life things in an aquarium, and he's just distracted by literally every little thing, and he's just left alone. I felt sorry for him. And while they're setting up charges, this guy gets shot, and the Polka Dot Man says Milton's dead, and Bloodsport's like, who in the world is Milton? Like, there was another guy with us the entire time. And Harley Quinn's like, I would have noticed that there was a guy named Milton with us this entire time. But it's funny because if you look back on the film, you're probably not going to remember him except by name, and only because they joked around about it in that scene. But if it wasn't for that scene, you would not even know who he was. Like that bell wouldn't even ring in your head. Like, who the fuck is Milton? If someone just asked you. like if it were not for that scene. So I thought that was pretty funny the way they just threw that in there, and it was hilarious. And yeah, but King Shark was my favorite part, how he's just kind of just wandering around not knowing what's going on. And this eventually leads to a short face-off between Bloodsport and Peacemaker, because Bloodsport develops a connection with Cleo, who's Ratcatcher, who reminds him of his daughter. And even though he's not a good father, he admitted that to his daughter. He's not a good father, he's not a good man, but in his own way, he does love his daughter, and that's why he's doing this, to prevent her from being sent to prison, where she's likely going to end up a victim of the high murder rate. Seeing Peacemaker pointing a gun at Cleo in order to prevent the info getting out, and he's thorough, that's why he's going to kill her. So that incentivized Bloodsport to kill him. Of course, he doesn't end up dying, because at the end of the movie, he's still alive, and I believe James Gunn is directing a show about Peacemaker, which I'm very excited for, if it's going to be anything like this. And then came my least favorite part of the film, which was when Star the Conqueror escaped and started wandering around the island of Corto Maltese and started attacking everyone with that little starfish crap. I mean, which is essentially a cheap knockoff of the facehuggers from Aliens. It's just a horrible villain in my opinion, because he doesn't really do anything. It should have given a lot more screen time and a lot more importance to Mateo Suarez. Don Neto could have ran this shit. It could have been such a great role. It could have been such a great character. But instead it focused more on Star the Conqueror. And Star the Conqueror was essentially just the means by which they, I guess, plan to take over the world. They didn't really explain their agenda too much, I don't think. I don't remember it. But Silvio Luna and Mateo Suarez were the actual villains. So it should have put a lot more focus on them. Or at least Mateo Suarez, because Harley Quinn killed Silvio Luna. And the way the climax was resolved was really dumb. The way just Ratcatcher just calls every rat in Corto Maltese. I'm assuming it's Corto Maltese, and that's how they take down Star the Conqueror. Like, really? That is the best thing you can come up with. Just get a bunch of rats and take that down. You can't kill it with advanced weaponry. You can't kill it with King Shark just munching away at. Nope, but rats do the job just fine. Like, it was just horrible. Every hero or every protagonist gets a moment. Bloodsport convinces the Polka Dot Man that Star the Conqueror is his mom, and that triggers his childhood trauma, how his mother injected him with like an interdimensional virus or something like that. And so he starts shooting polka dots at Star the Conqueror, but doesn't do anything, so it's pretty anticlimactic. He convinces King Shark that Star the Conqueror is food, so King Shark decides to attack him. And that's pretty much it. They get slapped around really quickly, and yeah, nothing really comes out of that except Ratcatcher just calling every rat and just killing Star the Conqueror. Like, really, that's all you gotta do is call a bunch of rats. But yeah, I really didn't like that climax. It was just horrible for me. It didn't do it. But the rest of the film, like the film overall, was fantastic. It was very exciting. It was fun. And in my opinion, it's probably the best film of the year. Not in every single aspect, and I haven't watched every film this year, but like the best film of the year that I've watched. I don't know if there's going to be a sequel, but if there is, I hope they make it just as good or better, because often with sequels, they try to just go above and beyond to like show up the first one, and they just fall so short of that mark. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Did you watch it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. I personally had a great time watching it. I probably watch it again, and I probably will at some point this week to see if I missed anything. But yeah, if you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already, and I will catch you in the next video, which will be on Monday or Friday. See you then. Bye bye.